Did I just see a notification that Big Kleib 34 uploaded a video? What's going to happen next? Is the sky going to fall? No. Hopefully. Maybe the sky's going to fall. I don't know. We'll see by the time we get to the end of this video. But what's up, guys? Big Kleib 34 coming at you today. And we're going to do a little bit of, not really podcast, but a podcasty styled news video with all of my favorite topics that I've found around the internet that are related to cars, with some tech stuff thrown in throughout this week. I've really found some cool stories this week, and the world is getting to be a very strange place. I just had to come back and comment on everything that's going on. So without further ado, let's hop right into the meat of this video. Now, how we aren't talking about this every second of every day is beyond me. And I don't mean to be alarming, but I think that we've all officially lived to see the day where robots take over the world. BMW is collaborating with a creepy, super genius AI-powered robot created by a company called Figure that uses the latest ChatGPT software to problem solve. And I got a chill just watching it in action.
Hey, Figure One, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Great. Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great. So, based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great. Can you put them there?
Of course.
Guys, this thing can learn how to do things by watching videos, just like we do when we need to learn how to do something and go on YouTube. And if that's not the craziest thing you've ever heard, then I don't even know what could possibly top that and what to tell you. It was creepy enough when these robots kind of started to learn how to walk, but now they have AI integrations and can work their way through problems that are getting more and more complex by the day. And when we have the smartest people in the world, like Elon Musk, telling us, hey, pump the brakes on AI, and also telling us that AI is going to be smarter than the combination of all humans within the next couple of years, my first thought wouldn't be, hey, let's give these things an Iron Man suit too while we're at it. That just seems like the plot to the worst ending movie for humanity ever. And the crazy part is BMW isn't alone. Mercedes-Benz is also in on this game, as they now employ a robot named Apollo. Apollo doesn't seem quite as advanced as Figure 01, but they advertise it as a low-skill, dirty jobs kind of robot, and I think it's only a matter of time before this thing's probably doing complex labor as well. Between these two, Tesla, and another of other companies working on robots, it only seems like a matter of time before the takeover. So are robots and AI coming together to force humans out of the workforce entirely, or am I freaking out over nothing? In other news, the current baddest-ass version of the Bronco Raptor on the market has dropped from the crew over at Hennessy. The interesting part is that these things are using the EcoBoost V6 and not going with a traditional V8, which is But while we wait for the Bronco Raptor R to come and just kind of pray that maybe one day we'll see it with a supercharged V8, which is probably never going to happen, this is what we get. And Hennessy is doing their best to make the best out of the platform. Now, if you can get down with the EcoBoost Twin Turbo V6, Hennessy is offering the Bronco Velociraptor 500. Basically, the truck is upgraded from 418 horsepower with 440 foot-pounds of torque to 500 horsepower and 550 foot-pounds of torque. Now, the upgrade comes from a very basic set of modifications, including a heat exchanger and an engine management software upgrade, aka a tune, and they're squeezing quite a bit of upside out of what was already there. The truck will also come with 20-inch Hennessy wheels and 37-inch tires, along with a leveling kit and custom bumpers as well. The Velociraptor comes in at 200 units for 2024 and will start at $28,950. Yes, that is a ton of money, but hey, I guess if you want to have an exclusive ride and, you know, something that makes a decent amount of power, it's one way to go. And I know that we're all yearning for that V8, big V8 number, which, you know, we've seen out of companies like Hennessy before. But for now, I think that dealing with what we got, it's not bad. 500 horsepower is definitely more than people give credit for. I feel like you hear 500 and you're used to seeing 1,000 horsepower all over the place. 500 is still a ton of fun. 550 foot-pounds of torque. It's going to be a lot of fun to drive, and especially drive off-road. And also the fact that it comes with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty is another big plus, because that's not generally something you get with aftermarket modification, even though the modification is kind of minimal. But Hennessy, if you end up watching this, please do me a favor and shove a V8 under the hood. I mean, how far off can this thing be from taking on a Coyote? As you know, they already have this Bronco DR that I didn't know about, but I found in my research that's already Coyote powered, but is very expensive and strictly for competition. It's like, I think it's a fully race built off-roader. So realistically, how hard and expensive could it be to slap a Coyote in this thing and give us a street trim version for? Like, get your act together and cut this nonsense out right now. Moving on to the next subject of discussion, we run into a truck that actually does have a V8, and a V8 that's going to be making a ton of power. Ram TRX, move over, because there's a new sheriff in town and it has a bow tie on the front of it. So there's always seemed to be this disconnect between manufacturers and performance enthusiasts. Like, see the last thing that I just talked about with the Bronco Raptor not featuring a V8. This time though, they hit the nail on the head with a truck available only through GM dealers nationwide. Enter the 800 horsepower Silverado Yenko SC. This thing starts with a 2024 Silverado or GMC Sierra. This time we're talking about the Silverado though, and you could take the crew or double cab LT, LTZ, RST, or high country model with any bed size, and you can now order it with an 800 horsepower package from the factory. Of course, the only drawback here is that there is no option for a regular cab short bed. As far as I know, I don't know if I should have did the research on this. It's all right. I'm not sure if they don't make the regular cab short bed at all anymore, or if there's just no V8. But that's kind of crazy. It's another thing, like these disconnects between the community and what we want and the manufacturers. There's no reason why they couldn't make a regular cab short bed with a V. It's a mess. But anyways, those things have a soft spot in my heart, obviously. Not an option here. What the cool thing about this package though is that it is not only like probably the most powerful truck that you can buy with a warranty, but it's also a street truck. And I don't know why all the performance trucks that come out from manufacturers are off-roaders, but this is definitely not that. It's lowered, sitting on low-profile tires and bigger wheels, and it's just so cool to see a performance street truck again, because that's such a cool niche that just kind of gets ignored by manufacturers for the most part. So how do they get to that 800 horsepower? Well, it's going to be a blueprinted aluminum block. They're going to have a positive displacement supercharger assembly, race quality computer balanced rotating assembly, including forged twisted steel crankshaft and forged aluminum pistons, along with upgraded cylinder heads. And on top of that, the visual things, we get side stripes that everybody knows Yenko for, come on, and unique wheels. So with more than 100 horsepower over the Ram TRX and 80 more than the Raptor R, is this thing the new king of the jungle? And I know that I just went on and on about street trucks, but if you do want the off-roader, it comes in that as well. If you want to take something like a ZR2 or a Trail Boss to them, they will make you an off-road version of this truck that is very similar, except a little bit more capable off of the beaten path. So one of the things that Specialty Vehicle Engineering seemed proud of with this one is that even though it's a ton of power, it's going to be a very drivable vehicle. Sometimes when you get these higher horsepower applications, they can be a little bit much on the road, but they guarantee that with the positive displacement supercharger, it'll be a smooth ride. And they have this patent pending boost by wire control system, which seems like voodoo magic to me. But basically the idea is that instead of just having instantaneous boost, which in racing is one of the benefits of a positive displacement supercharger. Not necessarily something that everybody wants to drive around with every day, though. They kind of have a boost-by-wire control system, which gives more boost with more throttle. So it kind of works its way in instead of being an instantaneous hit of boost, which, yeah, pure wizardry, if you ask me. Now, let's talk about the part that's a little bit controversial, the price. Well, there's going to be 50 each of these, so it should be 50 street Silverados there's a 700 horsepower package, which I didn't mention. It's the 5.3, and then the 800 horsepower is the 6.2. There's going to be 50 each of the Silverado and Sierra on-road and off-road. So there's going to be like 200 of these total floating around. And for that, limited production and the high horsepower drivability, pricing starts at $67,995 for the 700 horsepower one, and the 800 horsepower one is essentially $70,000. This is all going to be on top of the price of the truck. And to get into one of these things, we're looking at about $50,000, so I'd ballpark around 120 to 130, probably a little bit more to get one of these things out the door. But pricing can definitely go over $200,000 when you look at the crazy price of the truck market these days and what some of the higher trim level trucks are going for if you want to start with one of those. So I'm super curious to hear what you guys think of a setup like this. So chime in with your thoughts below. I'm mainly curious to see what people think about that price, because dropping $70,000 for an upgrade is so much money. That's like a whole other truck. Is it worth it? Is it too much? Is it due to the limited nature of the trucks? Yenko's pretty cool. So what do you guys think? With that, on to the next segment. This is going to be a quickie. The new segment is going to be, well, the whole thing is kind of new because this is my first video back, but introducing the segment that I've never done before, Car of the Week. This week's Car of the Week comes at us from a Facebook user named Mark Donnelly, who dug up a brand new 34-year-old car in Tennessee. The 1990 Corvette ZR1 sits with just 62 miles on the clock. The owner bought this thing, took it to the garage, and basically never drove it. The oil was never changed. The air filter is original, as is the battery, and it even still has the original window sticker in place. The owner says he brought it home, cleaned it up, and got it running with the aim of keeping it in its original condition. He doesn't plan on driving it because he says that he has other cars to scratch that itch, which typically would bother a lot of enthusiasts, but with this one, you can kind of really see how it's a piece of history. I mean, how many brand new C4 ZR1s are out there? The number has to be incredibly low, if not zero, and I'm really like a drive it kind of guy over a sit there and look at it kind of guy, but I guess if you already have other cars, it's like, you know, it's a historical artifact at that point. Now, he doesn't plan on selling the car, according to the post, but the C4 ZR1 is one of those cars that's starting to bring in a little bit more value, especially compared to other C4 ZR1s. Lower mileage clean examples are bringing 40 to 50K ballpark number with decent miles in clean condition. So it seems as if this guy really has a gem on his hands here. So, nope, doesn't plan on selling it, but maybe we can argue amongst ourselves as to what the value of something like this is in the comments. It's basically a brand new car, so probably worth a pretty penny there. And this is going to be the last segment. A real quickie here is that we can say RIP to the idea of the V8 Wrangler. I don't think that this thing was around very long, and Jeep has decided to kick it out altogether. Not a shock with the direction of the community these days. So Jeep is officially done with all V8 Wrangler offerings, as it announced that it will no longer be making the 392 powered Wrangler. It's kind of in accord with the 2024 392 final edition. The last one will be coming up later this year. It comes with the 470 horsepower application. It also comes with a winch, 2-inch lift kit, upgraded suspension, and some special appearance items like decals, badges, and Napa leather seats. The crazy part is that this thing is priced at $100,000. If you want to talk about one phrase that explains how out of touch with reality the car market has gotten, it's $100,000 Wrangler. Gotta say that I'm not a huge Jeep person, but this seems like the one to have with the 6.4 liter Hemi in a final send-off package that traverses the quarter mile in 13 seconds. Pretty pretty good for a factory stock Jeep. The Wrangler will now only come in 4 and 6 cylinder options in addition to a plug-in hybrid, which is one big womp womp womp. And that's all I got for you guys. Exercising these camera muscles again. It's going to take me a second probably to get back into the flow of making all these videos seamless. So if this one seemed a little bit choppy, is what it is. We'll be back in action fully soon. I'm so excited to be back making short form content too out of these videos and others. I'm going to be active on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. So you guys there hopefully. And this has been Big Kleib 34. Glad to be back. Hopefully this lasts for much longer than that one video that I did a year ago and then never showed back up. I'm not going to do that again. There's going to be at least one more. So there's going to be a lot more than that. But good to see you guys again. And until next week,